Here's something that I thought after the fact of coming after 2009 and then going back and looking at it. Orion Court, which is inside of the triangle layout that created the Great Pyramid. As I said, Orion itself marked off the five houses. Orion Court was around the corner from my mother's house, which sat inside, which the place of the King's Chamber that I said I was able to match up with Coleman, and how Orion Court has the number 62 on it. So that self number 62 reference a number 62 that I had on my sign before that even came to my attention, which was until after I came back home in 2008. And it wasn't after till after 2009 going to court that I actually got to see this. Now, as you can see, the sign I put up has 62, 130, 62 on it. That's what I have on that sign itself when I first had it put up, August in 1996. You see the 1555 to 1996, which comes out to 441. And showing you here, Africa in the pyramid. You had the signs of the gold-faced signs, Bush Gardens. Bush Gardens is Africa. Africa in the pyramid, same thing. It mimicked the signs that were out in Orlando along outside of this billboard, where this was a map of the world, that was a map of Orlando, vice versa. Here's checkers. Checkers, you deal with pieces, checker pieces. Checkers was played during the Pyramid Age. And I can lay this layout here over Orlando as a map in the position of where the three signs sat, and then I can show you this map on Orlando. Showing you here, this would be the Mall at Millennia area here. This here would be the area where they had the Holy Land. Over here would be Universal Studios. This is the I-4, the Millennia area here. This is on a billboard. But because it had to do with Orlando, which I put the rest of the words on there, went specific. As you can see, this shows you Orlando back in 1996. Everything is gone here, except for this hotel, the Medley Hotel. Checkers are still there. That's gone. That's gone. That's gone. All these places are gone except Checkers, still there. Why? Checkers 441. Checkers is connected to 441. On the Checkers, you have Crown, where I said I'm sitting now. Pieces of Crown. So it basically goes back to checker pieces that where crowns are on. That's why I can show you King's Point as a crown. That's why I can show you this King Point as a crown. That's after 2009 and what I said in court. Even though I didn't go to Busch Gardens, I went to Egypt. The attraction itself sort of gives away what actually happened to me, as far as when I saw the sign and it said "Come explore Egypt," and I went to Egypt as a message, showing you here that showing you this spirited energy, because you're dealing with someone who once lived before. You're not dealing with a character, as they like to show as being King Tut. King Tut only means duh. It's a title. Tut Akamon, the living image of Amon. So you just say duh. That's not saying anything. So this here is showing you that they're speaking of some newspaper, some real, basically in a top of a superficial way. But it said the spirit of Tut himself takes over as tour guide, which is what happened as far as what I saw. Why I ended up in Egypt. Now they take it lightly, but you're dealing with actual living beings that once lived again. And when you look at someone who once lived, or energy, energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. So that being said, it was years before I looked at this, but it spoke to what I was doing and what I was saying the whole time. That spirit created the triangle, not an attraction. At the same time, I said I bought the house downtown that was built in 1924 at the same period of time when that tomb was opened. A house built by the first black postal carrier in Orlando, going back to the history of Orlando, which went back further than this, the history of Orlando. Busch Gardens, the brewery, the beer, showing you the sun in the eyes, the sun, the Orion, all connected. Showing here the words that were added after the fact. Here, I showed these words. You notice that they're all in capital letters. Just as showing here, your Osiris Rex, here, capital letters, acronym. That's how they describe it. Here, itself, all together, same thing. Going back to the beginning of time, this is what the Osiris Rex, going to the solar system, going into the Banu. Banu dealing with the Banu bird, which is in also in the book Coming Forth by Day, Coming Forth by Night. That's why I can show this here, because it goes back to when I met Rosetta Enoch, 1972, dealing with the her name connected to the Rosetta Stone and Enoch. What is Enoch in the Great Pyramid? This is what I'm showing here. That connection. Before I put that together, this was in 1996. Again, Orion, the layout. All land is the promised land. That's the Holy Land now that was placed here. Over here, Universal Studios, the Mummy, where I can lay this over Orlando, just the way that the pyramid ship came down on Stargate and landed on the other pyramid, a pyramid on top of a pyramid, showing you the sun. This is north here, even though these are reversed. This is what was placed in Orlando. And what I can show you, this map laid over Orlando itself, showing you here the DC, 1555, 1996, going to the Sun Trust building, 441 feet, Sun Trust, the four pyramids on top, triangles with dormers that go back to my house on Long Island, 634 Commander Avenue. The tallest building allowed in Orlando, which nobody really knows much about other than the fact that it's there. It's a landmark, but also represents the top is a crown. So it is 441, connected to the 441, where checkers this sign sat, showing you the sun, sun speaking, and then show you that the Sun Trust building downtown is a crown. That's what's on top. Because the word crown comes from corona, which comes from the sun, which is here. See the crown coming out. That's the Sun Trust building. I'm the only one that can tell you that and show you that. And I can connect it all back to what I'm saying. That's why I can connect it to where I'm at right now. I didn't have time to look at this back then in 2009 and see the relationship between this is Coleman. You can see here the layout, the angle, But I can show you now. I can show you that this here, the triangle, the pyramid, the layout, how these three here showing you like sun ray coming out. I then moved over here where I spent the rest of the time. Here, before I came home. But this is where I spent. You see the angle here, connecting the layout. Now I'll go to the Mall at Millennia where I told them, which is written in court, what I said the connection. So watch this connection here. Watch the angles. You see the angle of the, you see the angle? This didn't exist back in 2000, 1997, 1996. This did not exist then. This wasn't here. All this was wooded. Here are the houses here. The three houses, I said, created the three stars, Orion. 1, 5312, 5320, 5312, 5301. The one I said November, October is when I got this one, the last one that created this layout. It didn't come to my attention until 1995. And you can see I was living here in the middle house. That would be aligned with the middle pyramid, which would be the Sphinx, Hermaket. And you can see as you look closer, you can see how it shows you a star, the layout. That's where it shows you. That's where I was at. There was no Google map then. When they came into this house, July 24th, 1997. They came into here, what I was telling them. I didn't tell them about the houses here. I just told them when they came in here what I had to tell them. Because I had already seen this layout. This didn't exist. As you can see, Eastgate here. And when I went to downtown and I told them what I said, and they sent me to Coleman. And you can see here, you'll see here. What do you see? There's obelisk structures all around here that connected to the layout. Here, in the center on this floor is Orion. This was after I went to court in 2009, but I mentioned the mall at Millennium and coming back home because it didn't exist. It's connected to the houses here. They said it had to do with the Stargate. This is why when you go inside the mall, this star's up top. The front here, you'll see a disc with lights coming down from it. It's the sun disc, sun ray. That's what it's showing. Here, I say the mall coming from the Great Pyramid layout. Because here's the Great Pyramid layout. It came out, and you can see from here, center here, as if laying an egg, laying bird here. From this layout, the energy, currency, showing you here. Center here is Kings Point. Kings Point Parkway didn't exist. And if you look closer, Kings Point Parkway, which I said didn't exist then, in 1996, Kings Point Parkway is Uraeus. It's this, which I didn't have time to talk about in 2009 because, again, this backs up what I went to court for the first time And what I told him the second time, that's a Uraeus. And it's Kings Point's Parkway that sits on the crown. That's why it sits here. And here it's Lockheed Martin, the Area 51, which they're building here, Epic Universe, after I talked to or sent something to Universal Studios in 2010 about this. And as you can see in the movie, Stargate, destination, the 7 points we talked about in the movie. I'll show you the destination here. Destination Parkway, which is the Stargate, which that was central to the movie itself. Going to Abydos, coming in through a pyramid. Again, that's science fiction. Can't be true. John Young. What's John Young? Astronaut. And here's something they wouldn't want to hear in court, what I said to them when I mentioned the mall at Millennia and the fact that the obelisks were around this area that decorated like the Washington Monument that you can go back and read because that's what I presented to them in 2009, the same day that the re-release or the release on Stargate, Children of the Gods. I said this is the birth. Here, you see the mall itself. You can see like a foot ahead. Here's the center, male, female. You see energy, movement, motion. You see the perimeter as an egg shape, egg shaped perimeter. What's an egg? The egg itself is the largest cell. Here it is inside of a cell. You see Macy's, Bloomingdale's. That's New York, where I said Central Park, Fifth Avenue, the obelisk. Here is a cell, inside of a cell, coming from the layout, showing you the Uraeus, laying it from Kings Point, going back to here, the cell, after telling them that. Where was I at during this time? In a cell when they sent me here. That's why they're lined the same way. Just as I told them then in 2000, 1997, I told them again in 2009. That's why they wanted to take me back to court. So now I sit here. What you call here is King Point Boulevard. This is after 2009. My father moved here in 2012. You can see here. See this layout here? This showing you a crown, 3-point crown. One, two, three. What did it say the crown's connected to? Checkers. Where does it say the words "Thy kingdom come"? What is this? King's English, King Charles, King Philip, King Edward, King Henry, King James, all here, showing you the connection. What I said. After the fact, after 2009. This is 2022. I'm showing you this. This is all connected. This is actually showing you a crown, the chainmail, 3-pointed crown, the one you put on was time to go to war. Now look at this here. You see here? This is King Point Boulevard, the same way that's King Point Parkway, connecting to both of them. Both of them having to deal with something on a crown. The Uraeus there and the crown here. Directly as I speak, I'm here. Who's going to make that up? My father just passed away April 8th, 2022. That's why I'm sitting here now. He was my When You Wish Upon a Star. Because when I was 10 years old, I hadn't even met him. I didn't meet him until I was 14 years old. So he was my When You Wish Upon a Star. I wanted to meet my father. So he ends up coming here to Florida after my release, coming spending time. But then it ended up going back to the experience I had with him when I was a child, which we stopped speaking, not realizing he was in my place. He came to my domain, but he thought something different. He was calling this his property, not realizing this had already been taking place before that. This is why I can show that here. And you can see here, connection. That there, King Point Boulevard, the same way shows you the Mall at Millennia in Coleman. This is Kings Point Boulevard. And I show you back again where he said the Mall at Millennia, where something, laid an egg, birth. Why I said that. Why I showed you that after what I presented it to them in court in 2009. Because this could not have existed because he had moved here until 2014. So why would I not be able to say it then when I connect it then to now? As you can see, mall at Millennia Boulevard, coming out of this is the same shape as Kings Point Boulevard in the Kings Point subdivision where I said I'm sitting right now, showing you that's a birth. My mother lives here. Where does the birth come from? Out from your mother. That's why it's the Uraeus here. Where does the birth come from? Here. Showing you the opposites. One is going one way. Here's King Point Boulevard ending here at John Young, inside the pyramid, where my mother lives here. Showing you Orion Court. All this showing you after Orion Court. After. After I went to court, 2009.